Hi, this is Mike, and welcome back to 5 Minutes of Fantasy Sports. So, week one is almost at an end here. And so, what I want to do is just go through some tools that you can hopefully use to kind of analyze your team, see where you're at, and also, hopefully, if you're on your phone, make your phone a little more useful for fantasy sports as well. So, I'm on the website here, and the website has a lot more analysis tools than does just the app on your phone. So, what you can do is if you go to the actual website that the fantasy sports page is at, so this one is baseball.fantasysports.yahoo.com. If you go there on your phone browser and log in, then you can actually get the full access to all these tools as well. You don't have to be on a laptop or a PC to do that. You can do it on your phone. Sometimes the app's a little annoying because it'll try to bring you back to the app instead of letting you do it on the phone, but you just have to switch back and forth. So I want to show you a couple things here. So the players tab is much more useful here on the website than it is on your mobile app. So what you can do is you can see all the categories that are available, and you can sort by them a little easier. If you click stolen bases, right, you can see that. If you want to switch to pitchers, you can switch to pitchers. You can sort by ERA. You probably want low instead of high. You can sort by strikeouts. All right, you can also change all these categories as well. And what you might want to see is you can do this new one here that says fantasy matchups. It's not that new actually, but it shows you like who they're going to be facing, which players will be facing who, which pitchers will be facing the opposing pitchers. So that's kind of useful if you're looking at maybe streaming to get a win. You want to go up against a team that maybe isn't very likely to get a win. So fantasy matchups is a useful tool to use. Research kind of just shows you, if you look at it, where they are in the depth chart. You can also sort by ads and drops. You can do that on your phone as well. But what I'd like to do is just show you a few people that this is useful actually, showing where they are in the depth chart. So if you do that, you can find which team has which team's first starting pitcher is available. So the Tigers' first starting pitcher, Eduardo Rodriguez, is available. He's actually rostered in 86% of leagues, but he's not rostered in mine, probably because he's not doing very well on his first two starts. So he's someone I'd watch. That's also something you can do is add the little star to the watch list. This guy, Brad Keller, is available. He's had two pretty decent starts. So if he's available in your league, he's 19% rostered. So he's worth maybe a speculative add. But something I've done as well, which you may want to do as well, is I'll go to my team here and actually cancel this, is take a look at players that are on IL. So for me, in my league, once you click on trying to add a player, it makes you wait 2 days and sees if anyone else wants to add them, and then they can do the fab that way. So you can't just instantly add a player to your roster. So what I've been doing over the last few days is I've been looking at guys who are hopefully going to be coming back from IL relatively soon. Jack Flaherty is a guy I would target for picking up if you can. He's just starting to play catch and throw, but he's someone that will make a big difference when he does come back. So what I do is the players that are on the IL, I have 4 IL spots. I use 3 of them for guys that weren't starting the season, and then this guy, Lance McCullers Jr., I drafted and I put him on the IL as well. So Dustin May is another person that you may want to look at. He's not supposed to come back till the second half of the season, but when he was back, he made a big difference. He was a positive impact player. Mike Soroka is another one who's out for I don't know exactly how long. But anyway, they're worth looking at, and they're worth using, because if you're just keeping them empty, it's not really worth it. The only thing you would want to consider is if you have a move limit. If your league only lets you do 40 moves or 50 moves or whatever, you might not want to necessarily use all 4 IL spots for that. You might only want to have like 1 or 2 that are just kind of waiting for you. But for me in this league, it's not a total move limit. It's a weekly move limit. So I've used 5 of my 6 weekly moves, and the week's almost over. All right, so what I look at is also just kind of to get a quick idea of of how players are doing, is I click on ranks. And when you click on ranks, it kind of shows you the Yahoo algorithm what it thinks. So like Salvador Perez, pre-ranked 40, 39. This season, he's not off to that great of a start. Same thing with Matt Olson. He's ranked in the 120s. He was pre-ranked 20. Eduardo Escobar, same thing, underperforming. Manny Machado overperforming. Seager's around where he was expected to be. Cedric Mullins under. A lot of my guys are underperforming. The only one who's overperforming is this guy, Josh Bell. Anthony Rendon is not off to a good start, nor is Whit Merrifield. So my team's kind of middling right now. The hope is that they'll turn things around and do a lot better moving forward. But I also like to have one or two spots that are available to add players who are hot. So let me go to my other league. I'm in an AL only league, so this may not apply to everybody. But what I did is I added players who I think have potential to be hot starters. So last year, one of them was Jazz Chisholm. He was a great starter, and then he got injured, and he came back not so hot. But this year I've added Steven Kwan. He started off super hot. He's starting to cool down a little bit, it looks like, so I might think about moving on from him, possibly. But I also added, where is he? G-Man Choi at first. I still do have a lot of Royals in my AL only league, so I have one Salvador Perez, Whit Merrifield, Adalberto Mondesi, and Bobby Witt Jr. So 4 is a lot to have on your, especially on your hitting, because if they all have a bad game, your whole team has a bad game. So anyway, I'm trying to maybe diversify that a little bit. I might look to do a trade, but it is still week 1. I try not to panic week 1 because a lot of things can change in baseball. Obviously, there's a lot of weeks, so let's just look at the weeks actually. There's a total of, in this league, 23 weeks. So you have 23 weeks to play. So we're only a little bit into the season. So hopefully that helps. The main thing is knowing how to use the full versatility of the Yahoo website on your phone. Not necessarily just using the app, but going to the website. And what you do when you get into it, it's kind of a pain to get to after you type in the address. You can just save it to your home screen, and you can have a little icon. I'll show you my phone home screen. It's pretty exciting, actually. But I mean, it's not very exciting at all. But if you look at my phone, I have a sports category, and you can kind of see here. Oop, it's a little blurry, but you can see where the apps have the website next to them, the little Google Chrome logo. That takes you right to where the website would be. So that's another way to do it. It's a little bit easier to do your research that way. If you don't want to get up and get to a computer, I suggest using the phone that way. All right, so that's it for today. I'll come back maybe a little bit beginning next week with some ads and maybe some drops that you should look at. Other than that, good luck with your fantasy week.